Hello. That needs to be turned down a little bit. Just gonna do a cozy little stream for a bit. Gonna play some music in the background, since no one's really commentating otherwise. It's me. I'm really not good at solo commentary. In my head, I'm really good at it, but in practice, I'm just not. Take like half of our TNT. All music played today will be made by myself, and some of it by Deer Trio. I'm going to make playlists soon for like different vibes of streaming, like one for more intense gaming and such, one for coziness, and one for just chill, music to sleep to kind of thing. Oops. Right now I'm just playing my album Winter Origin. Which was the first album I put out. So I want to tell a bit about my musical journey on that note. I've wanted to be a music producer probably since 2015, 2016 was probably when I started wanting to. Ryan was producing before I was, and so I started, I believe, in 2018. I don't remember when exactly off the top of my head, but I put out a song this year on the anniversary, so whenever that was. Oh yeah, it was the song Fearless was put out on the anniversary of me producing music. One of the things I'm working on right now is, this is an easy way to get apples. So originally, I had the dream that everyone had of just being a heavy dubstep producer. This was... I wanted to do the tear out stuff, but I kind of grew out of that phase and then grew back into it, in that I really love heavy dubstep. Like the new era of tear out is pretty good, in my opinion. But then I kind of changed around 2017, a year before I started producing, thinking, I want to go more for like chill trap. The first song I ever came up with was called Viking. It was a 2010s style, like early 2010s, maybe late 2000s style bro step. And I haven't put that song out yet officially. There's a demo for it out. I might remaster it at some point. But I'm gonna be honest, I've never been good at producing bro step. Probably one of my worst genres. Unless I'm literally just making it for a meme like Deer Step. I would say probably Neuro Hop and Glitch Hop are my worst. Which, on the other hand, Trap and Electro House are probably my best. But I started producing in 2018, and it all started with... Well, the first song I tried to make was this idea I had for a hardstyle song called Descent. And by making that, I literally just took like the default kick, clap, snare, and hat, or whatever, the 4 default sounds in FL Studio, and just put them together in the descending melody that I had for Descent. It wasn't even really hardstyle, it just sound. It was just sounds. And that is a song I eventually made, and then I decided not to release it under Muga officially yet. I want to remaster that song, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what to do, because I've got the concept for the drops, and that's about it. So the original alias that I had is long dead and gone. Which I don't typically talk about those because it's just not me anymore. But the original alias I had, I put out 5 songs technically. The first one was Mystic, the original demo for Mystic. And to this day, that's a very special song to me, because it was the first song I ever quote-unquote completed. And at the time, I didn't know near as much about genres as I do now. And so the concept I had was Carnival Dubstep, and the second drop is like Carnival Breaks. Carnival, for those of you that don't know, is the like 4-on-the-4 beat, almost like hard dance, that a lot of bass music artists do for like bro step, trap. It was big in like 2018. I might just be more efficient just chopping down these trees, like in terms of getting apples. I originally didn't plan on chopping them down at all, just leaving them bald. But the second song I put out was like literally the next day. I put out Dimensions, which is getting remastered. And I decided like 2 hours later, you know, that song is awful. I'm just going to like private the video. Let me see, there was a few songs after that. There was Tribal, which I was kind of going for. What was Tribal meant to be? It was originally going to be a future-based song called Droplets. But I didn't like, or not even really that I didn't like it. The production just went in a completely different direction. Then I put out a full flavor song, which was called Storytime. And it was around that time that I realized I really wanted to be like a full flavor artist. I think there was only actually 4 songs I put out during that time. But then I changed my alias for a while to something having to do with my actual last name, which is also the name of a certain company, which I'm not at all associated with, and I kind of wanted to separate myself from that, and also separate myself from the group that I was involved with at the time. And just kind of leave everything behind and start again. Which it wasn't the first time, wasn't the last time I did that. I don't think there's any risk in the future of me doing that in the future. I think I said in the future twice. Forgive me, my brain is my brain. There's a lot I wanted to separate myself from, so I just took down everything, started again. In probably early 2020. And then after that, I went on under a couple different aliases. I changed from Drone Syndrome to Muga because the concept of Drone Syndrome was like fatalistic, robotic, you know, I'm doing this because it's my job and I have no choice. And it was like a symptom of depression that I had for a long time. And it definitely has better names than what I gave it, but I eventually decided, look, if I want to have a positive life, I need to not be literally naming myself after my depression. And so I stopped going by that name. Although it's still my name on like Rate Your Music, because I don't have the Rate Your Music Deluxe or anything, whatever it's called. So I can't like actually change my name there. But I decided to go by Muga. which I've told that story before, but it was originally a name I had for like a Twitter bot, a funny little gimmick account, but I liked the acronym Muga so much that I just used it as my name. And these days it doesn't actually mean the original acronym, of course. It's just, it sounds cool and cute at the same time. You know, it feels like something that you could use for a cute little character or someone mysterious, and in that regard I really like it. And it kind of, it shares a number of letters with my real name, so I like that too. And the story behind Matryoshka, which is an alias that I used for one little EP because it wasn't to the same standard that I want Muga to be. That came from a song by Hachi, an alias of Kinshi Yonezu. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. There's a song called Matryoshka, and it's a Vocaloid song that I've always really loved. And should I ever become a VTuber, that could easily be the name that I go with. Because it fits me. Especially the song. The song really fits me. Just a little weird. As to my musical inspirations, it varies from song to song. You know, I've got songs that are inspired by like glitched Sonic games. I've got songs that are inspired by like Kuatari. Or again, however you pronounce that. Kuatari is probably my biggest inspiration when it comes to like the progressive music that I do, where it's continuous mixes. It's like, is it one song? Is it, you know, 9 songs shoved into the slot of one song? You know, you decide. It's up to you. So my first album, the one that you're listening to in the background right now, was Winter Origin. So for a long time I had been using the FL Studio visualizer to upload my music because I didn't have anything like Adobe. And it was actually kind of this song that triggered me to change. Because using the FL Studio visualizer messed up the audio. Like, it really messed up the quality of the high ends and cut it off at a really bad place that it just did not sound good. And this song in particular was a very special one that I wanted to make sure it sounded right. And that just wasn't possible using what I had. So I made the decision to take down all of my music and start re-uploading it. Some different names and concepts. But Winter Origin was the first album because it was December anyway. I had recently shown the indie song Family to my mom, and she said, well, that sounds really Christmassy, so I got the idea maybe I should make a Christmas compilation. And I, of course, included, you know, actual Christmas themes in songs like Faith and Blessings. Pretty much all of my songs previously had a different name. Almost all of them. The original idea I had for the Muga name was to be an exclusively, like, indie dance, progressive future house, an alias just for that style. Excuse me. Like, if you know Monster Cat's indie dance, it's not really a genre. It's like a broad category of genres, usually covering like various types of pop and house. And that's how we got songs like December and Tiger Eye. They were meant for the original Muga alias. And I made them... I honestly don't remember when, off the top of my head. But I made them a long while ago. And just kind of remastered them here and there. Don't know how I just swung my sword while eating. I'm actually hacking. So is the slime. So I put out like one song called Christmas as Muga, and then never touched it again, and eventually just took it down. From there, I decided to, after the winter Christmas themed album, I really wanted to release The Crow, but I thought it would be more important to put out Teacher, which was in memory of my dad. Goodness, we got so much stuff. Hopefully we have, like, more coal around here. Because I have nothing else. I can, like, smelt some of this wood into charcoal. And Teacher was one of the... It wasn't intentionally made to be, like, one genre, but it's one of the few times that I've ever made a project that ended up being, like, primarily... an album that ended up being primarily one genre. And that being Electro House. And various types of Electro House. So that album was... It was originally 9 songs when I put it out under the old alias. But I decided to add on the last song being Guidance, I believe. Which was originally like a slowed and reverbed edit of Mars Landing. Which Mars Landing was originally meant to be a trance rendition of Teacher, like the starting song of Teacher. I kind of go over, I believe, like what the different songs are and what they mean, how it pertains to my dad in the descriptions. After that was The Crow. Why I went with like putting out The Crow and then, you know, 10 days later putting out the deluxe, I'm not sure. Looking back, I could have just done like one release. And like, or possibly held off on releasing the deluxe and make like VIPs later. Because I've done a lot of VIPs of albums on, or songs on The Crow, which, you know, didn't go on the deluxe release. And The Crow was kind of meant to be less of a story-driven album and more like just a compilation of the backlog of like songs I made I really like. And that's why there's no real attempt to even drive a story with it. Let me actually turn the music down a little bit more. And after The Crow came out, there was the Island Life EP. So a lot of the songs on Island Life were from the old alias, except I decided to add on, what's it called? In the Moon's Reflection, which was a new song, if I recall correctly. And most of it was inspired by someone I know and talked with a lot at the time. And you can probably infer from there. In particular, the song 314 was named for an episode of a show that I associated with them. That being the show called MASH, which is my favorite show. Season 3, episode 4, or episode 14. In which there was like a Greek festival, and I believe it was called Private Lamb or Private Charles Lamb. And I heavily associated that episode of MASH with this person. I'll make more clay, I really don't care. So there's like a kind of a trilogy, kind of a quadrilogy of albums after that, which were Myriad Ponder and Between Now and Destiny. And then it kind of splits off from there, and there was 2 sequels. Like a good ending and a bad ending. And that series kind of deals with the frustrations of not knowing where your relationship with someone stands. And what ended up happening was what happened in real life was the Needles ending didn't go well, but I think it ultimately worked out for the better in that regard. Thank God when he answers our prayers with no. Because there's some things we think we want that just aren't good for us. And if you've ever been around, like for example, little kids, you know that can be true. And sometimes we act like little kids. And so after all that went down, I decided to do a VIP of Here and Now called A Season Alone. And it was actually a really upbeat, uplifting song. And that's kind of where that vibe was going. It didn't work out, but I'm happy and content where I am. I'll say a lot of my music is inspired by, you know, relationship stuff, which I've only, in the entire time that I've been producing, I've only ever actually been in one relationship. And other than that, it's been, you know, people who, you know, kind of flirt back and forth, but then, you know, they're like, later, no, I don't want that from you, I just want to, you know, have fun. And if you've ever experienced in your life the whole friends that flirt stage, the friends with flirting, that is tough, and I would not recommend that for anyone. And if you're, you know, around someone who is pulling your strings like that, whether you want to call it pulling your strings or not, get out. I'm just gonna be straight up, get out. Like, I don't like the concept of deserving, because we all have so much better than we deserve ultimately, but you don't deserve that. And in the long run, you do not want that. If they cannot commit to you, but enjoy playing the games, just don't. And I know it's something, you know, we're warned a million times about. You know, especially when we're like teenagers and young adults. You know, watch out for people that only want to use you, but using you doesn't look the same in every situation. And I can't even say that I'm like angry with anyone looking back, because, you know, maybe they were hurt. You know, I don't know. Try not to be angry with anyone these days. Anger is just not worth it. But that said, I really love making angry music like this. Other albums that I've done, here's the Dream series, Mengjiang, which was like a love letter kind of album. A few of the songs on there were actually to anyone. There was a couple of them that were actually written to and for someone I was in a relationship with, but by the time it got put out, that relationship was dead and gone. And actually, a few people know this, but I guess I'll go ahead and put it out. The release date of Dream Deluxe was very intentional. There were things that were planned for that day that by the time that day was anywhere close to coming, those plans were canceled, and I knew it was going to be a very hard day that day. So my music for the album was getting done close to that time, so I just decided, I want to have something to smile about that day. So I decided to put it out then. Then there's Deer Step. So, keep opening my door. The dog does. The funny thing is, despite the whole deer theme and everything, and despite my logo being a crow, neither crows nor deer are my favorite animal. The deer comes from Alstag's favorite animal, and just the ongoing Bambi jokes and such that we all make. Which, I'm gonna be honest, deer are not really anything super special to me. Yeah, they're cute animals, and I like them like any other animal. And the crow thing actually came from an old, like, political philosophy that I had, which I don't entirely stand by anymore, but it's, you know, whatever. I like the logo. Let's see what should I do next. To the farm for some wither skulls. At least until my apples run out. Okay, we've got 2. I only need 1. I've gone through multiple phases throughout the years, and I had a phase that was like super political. And these days I would say I'm just as political as I was then, but I realize, you know, there are more important things to talk about. So it's not on my Twitter as much as it used to be. Never got around to this. I don't know if I ever will, honestly. I have the dedication for a lot of things, and just covering stuff in slabs is not one of them. this on my bar just in case. These days I prefer to talk more about God and grace than politics, but I also went through phases of, all of my posts were about Vocaloid, or all of my posts were about electronic music. Nowadays I would say I'm in my grace era, but I really hope it's not an era. I really hope that's there to stay. A fun fact about the song we've been listening to, it was originally conceptualized as a remix of Divided VIP by Slippy. I'll say there's a lot of Monster Cat songs that I've had ideas of remixes for that will never happen because I just do not support Monster Cat anymore. There's a lot of, like, really messed up stuff that they do. And that they believe in and promote. So I still listen to some of their artists, but supporting them as a company and supporting, like, the music that goes on there is not something that I really do anymore. It's actually been a while since I've listened to this song. I'm not one of those people that, like, listens to my own music a lot, because it's so easy to criticize, and it kind of sucks that you'll never be able to hear your own work for the first time. but if I can, you know, stick to one topic and not get distracted. Deer Step was just... It was going to be like a one-off song. You know, just for the goofs and giggles. And then... I can't remember really how it came about. But we were like, you know, why don't we make an EP? Or an album. And so I did. And now we're making 2 albums. There's going to be 3 of them. After that, probably not going to... You know, we may or may not collaborate more in the future. But it's not going to be like... It's not going to be Deer Step anymore. Because a lot of it is, you know, just meme music, we're joking around, and our styles between the Deer Trio are so different. Like, Ryan, Velocity, and I could probably collaborate a good bit, but Alsteg doesn't really fit the same style. He's more into classical music and making that, and Ryan and I are more electronic music. And also just, you know, goofing around. Which Alsteg does goof around some, like in music, but not really in the same way. And production-wise, we're just all very different. So then there is the latest, I guess, series that I've worked on, and that is the continuous mixes. Which I've talked about that more before. And we'll talk about it more later, but I'll say the ideas that I have for it now are much brighter than they were. Originally there was going to be 7 songs, or 7 continuous mixes. But I cut it down to 5. Simply for the sake that I don't feel like I had planned that I would feel, if that makes any sense. The original ending that I had for it was not the ending that I want to have for it. I feel different than I did then, and given that it's, you know, music based on my feelings, it's gonna change. I actually have the very final piece of it done. And the last of the 5 that I put out will be actually the chronological last as well. in the story. So look forward to that probably sometime next year, early. I've got a lot to get caught up on. I've got a song that I want to put out early next month that is not quite complete. For a double single release along with a remix by Ryan. This was the stupidest little piano thing that I did. This was such a goofy song, and it actually uses the same lead with just with a slightly different production style as Deer Step. And the only reason that it did not go on the Deer Step album along with Frolicking Fawn is because I had planned on doing a sequel to this. And at the time I didn't have any sequels planned for Deer Step. So production-wise, it would fit well on Deer Step, but I don't think that's in for it. Oh, hi. Yeah, if you listen, you can hear some of the same sounds that took place in Deer Step. Which I showed Ryan how I did the lead for Deer Step. And it's made in a way that's just as stupid as it sounds. Got planned for next year another continuous mix. This is debatably my oldest continuous mix. So back on one of the old aliases, I put out a song called Boredom Killer. It was made during a certain locking event, if you know. Don't want to trigger any algorithms by saying what it was. But it had 50 genres. And now you can kind of understand the theme of it. And I didn't stop there. I later did a remaster of it. And later still... Oh! Well, that's convenient. Later still did an updated version with even more genres. And it wasn't really extravagant sounding. It had two melodies that went back and forth, and was pretty much it. Each time the melody would change, it would change to a different genre. And looking back, like, okay, the intent was 50 different genres, but these two portions are actually the same genre, and then this genre doesn't actually exist. So it ended up being like 46 or something genres. And those will get put out, the Boredom Killers will get put out eventually. I'm not sure how, just it'll be on the Roadkill stuff. Probably around the time that the song actually gets put out. My delay in putting the demos out is I'm still looking to see if I can find the original that I did. It might be on one of my old YouTube channels, it might not. But somehow I lost the project file for it. I wonder if it has to be consecutive days. If not, you know, I've still got over 30. I'll make a bigger cactus farm at some point. Sand seems to be something we don't have much of these days. Weird. Oh, it hit the block below it somehow. Now we gotta do some sorting, clearly. I think I'm going to sleep, eat an apple, and then end the stream for the day. I can also read the aminals. I don't want to do too much like super exciting stuff while we're not all here in a call. It's my doing kind of boring work and just chatting. I can't lie, this song was kind of made in response to people thinking that Wherever You Go by Breakin' is glitch hop, which it's clearly not. It's 155 BPM, and that's not... It wouldn't be impossible to make glitch hop at that BPM, but it would be incredibly unlikely that it would actually be glitch hop. So the first part is Norwegian House, also known as Alan Walker House. Which is what I believe Wherever You Go actually is. And then the second part is, the second drop is glitch hop. Are you pausing? I didn't say pause. Which again, I come back to, glitch hop is one of my worst genres. I'm not good at making it. I had to try. Actually make a clover with this. There we go. Alright. It's gonna do it for this stream for today. Thank you for coming by. I will be back at some point this week, and I will also definitely stream Saturday. I look forward to all that. And we'll see you guys later. Take care of yourselves, and remember,